Alright, MrSotko here, and welcome back to another Company Heroes 2 replay cast. And today it is a 2 vs 2 on Moscow Outskirts. And up top, we have our blue Russian player, Sebuj, our yellow Russian player, Pamir47, our pink Wehrmacht player on the southern end here, Lethal Pie, and our red OKW player, Easy. Again, it is Moscow Outskirts, so we have our victory points straight across the center of the map here. And our fuel points on the right and left side, somewhat diagonal. And our munitions point in the center. On either side of the center victory point. Stern Pioneers are moving over to the left side here. Looks like they may be going straight for this fuel point here, which would be pretty typical of the OKW and Wehrmacht. And we have the Engineers moving over to the right side territory point as well. Now for the yellow Russian player, we have just the conscripts and the Engineers moving out to the right side. And for our blue Russian player, we have 2 conscripts already made and the Engineers moving over to the left side. Now these Engineers appear to be also going for the fuel point as well, perhaps taking this territory point first. Engineers indeed taking the first territory point right outside of his base, then probably going to hop the fence and move along over that way. Volksgrenadiers over in the corner here taking the territory point, and the Schwerer Wehrmacht Schlepper just chilling out in the front of the base, not ready to use that yet. Stern Pioneers and Engineers are about to get engaged here, and the Stern Pioneers are a little bit too far away to engage these Engineers properly, as you typically want to be very, very close with Stern Pioneers, so you get the maximum amount of damage. However, the Stern Pioneers did take the fuel point. It looks like they're going to be moving into this house here and defending that from these Engineers. However, the Engineers are pretty long-ranged, and looks like they are actually capturing the point from the Stern Pioneers now, so they're going to have to get out of that house and defend that sooner or later here. Otherwise, the Volksgrenadiers are going to have to take care of that themselves. Volksgrenadiers also taking the center territory point here, right in front of the OKW base. Yellow Russian player taking the right side victory point, and also garrisoning inside this church here, and not really taking the munitions point, just decided to go defensive at first there to get a good view, and now it looks like he's going to take it right after that. Volksgrenadiers are taking the place of the Stern Pioneers. There's the lag of the game, and Volksgrenadiers firing at these conscripts here, but now there's double the firepower here. We have some Engineers and conscripts both battling out with these Volksgrenadiers, and incoming more conscripts as well. So soon these Volksgrenadiers are going to get a little overwhelmed. Volksgrenadiers in the center, trying to contest this territory point here. Looks like they may be able to see each other. There's conscripts over here as well, and conscripts over here. So on both sides, those Volksgrenadiers are a little bit screwed either way. Now the Stern Pioneers trying to move up on the flank of these conscripts here, and probably will be able to get that off just a little bit, while the Volksgrenadiers keep them occupied from the other side. Light scout car is out, the old clown car for the Russians, and I'm sure he's working on a flamethrower as soon as possible. Indeed, already has that flamethrower coming. Over on the right side, the pink Wehrmacht taking the majority of the territory on the right side, now taking the right side victory point with these Engineers, and Grenadiers appear to be moving back down here to back up these Grenadiers that are attacking these conscripts inside the church there, but they have a very good defensive advantage inside that church. They'll last quite a while there, but won't be able to defend the territory from those Grenadiers at the same time. Now a flamethrower on these Engineers, and they're just going to ride around the battlefield, torturing these poor Volksgrenadiers here, sending them running. And we have one running back here, and the Volksgrenadiers here just take a step back and get away from that scout car just a little bit. So far, just 1 victory point for the OKW and 2 victory points very soon for the Russians. So they will have a point advantage very soon, 490 to 499. Still very early. 3 Grenadiers all packed in right here. It would be a really great time for a Molotov cocktail or a flamethrower. It looks like it's coming around sooner or later here. Nope, he's just going to go cruising. Turning it around now. And using that main machine gun there in the flank of these Grenadiers here. Both Grenadiers moving at these conscripts here, but there's only 2 of them behind those sandbags, and gonna have to get out of there. Now the Volksgrenadiers gonna use those sandbags against those conscripts. A couple conscripts running away from these Grenadiers here. Lots of firepower in this little section, but they're gonna have to get out of there as 2 squads of conscripts move up. And can't really take the damage from that scout car either. Scout car didn't really want to get too close to those Grenadiers. Didn't really want to risk taking a Panzerfaust hit from them, as he does have 103 munitions, so good reason. Did take out one of those Grenadiers. Fairly big loss for the Wehrmacht at the beginning of the game to lose a whole squad there. Over on the right or left side here, or on the middle rather, the Volksgrenadiers taking the munitions point, should be taking this victory point as well. It seems like it's pretty uncontested at the moment. It is pretty balanced. Grenadiers moving forward. And it looks like they're going to try and take this victory point here from these conscripts all the way over on the other side, and the engineers. And it looks like they may actually get away with it, as it doesn't look like any forces are really coming over to contest them at the moment. Grenadiers now taking, or conscripts taking the right side fuel point here, and also taking the corner territory point. But meanwhile, the OKW ravaging over on the left side, but the left side belonging to the Russians here and defended by some flamethrower engineers. A couple of Volksgrenadiers here are going to battle it out with these conscripts, and these Volksgrenadiers going to get some good cover here and some good cover inside and fire with these conscripts. Engineers got to run out of there. May actually lose these engineers, as it's just got a sliver of health on that flamethrower there. And does make it out of there. Now a sniper out for the yellow Russian player. And so far, no kills on that sniper. But we'll see how long he can hold that sniper. See if he can get it to a level 3. Scout car is chasing this light scout car here. So 2 scout cars in battle, but the others, the Wehrmacht scout car, a little bit more powerful there with that 2 centimeter. And just going to take out that scout car there. And he was trying to oorah those conscripts around. It looks like he was going to throw an anti-tank grenade at that, but it backed up too quickly. MG is inside this house here, the church rather, and firing at these grenadiers, and they have to get out of there. A little bit too much firepower on them. Raketenwerfer is set up. I'm going to set up for that scout car there, but a little bit too late. And now it looks like a second Raketenwerfer, or this is a, no, it must be a support gun, is coming out for the OKW. And these Volksgrenadiers in a little bit of trouble here. These conscripts moving up, and this flamethrower also hitting them. Down to 2 in that squad. Gonna have to replace all of those. New Wehrmacht Schlepper is out. He did make that battle group headquarters. And indeed, it is an infantry support gun moving on out. Conscripts running away, but the Russians owning the majority of the map here, so a big advantage for them very soon. Going to start withering away the Germans very quickly here with 3 victory points. Third Pioneers are taking the bottom territory point there, and looks like the conscripts are also taking back the munitions point from the Germans, so they'll own both munitions point, and looks like they own both fuel points as well. So very soon, that's going to be a major advantage for the Russians. Volksgrenadiers battling out with these conscripts here, and the Panzerschreck is on that group. So he does have some early tank detection here, anti-tank abilities. Has the Raketenwerfer and a Panzerschreck on one of his Volksgrenadiers. Looks like a T-70 is coming out for the blue Russian player. And for the yellow Russian player, still has that sniper out on the map. Looks like it's still only got 3 kills, so the sniper's not doing too good so far, but staying alive and getting some kills. So far, 4 kills. Now half-track is chasing away this conscript here. He might be able to actually finish off this conscript if he can get up close to it, but the half-track just a little bit too slow here. Gonna have to burst through the fence, and decides to back it out. Doesn't want to get too close to that Russian base, as anything could be lurking ahead there. Conscripts are all the way up at the Germans' base here, taking territory points, but the OKW is moving up the left side here and starting to take back some territory that is totally uncontested by the Russians here. Germans are moving towards the center here, getting a pretty good defensive spot in the center. Lots of firepower for them. Conscripts here, gotta get out of there. Way too much firepower for these conscripts, and gonna have to back up and maybe have to retreat eventually, but definitely wanted to move the conscripts around this side before we retreat so they don't run right in front of all the German troops when they go ahead and retreat out of there. Sniper trying to get back there, but the half-track looks like it spotted it, and it's going to be moving in on it. And the sniper in big trouble here. Going to try and get out of there as soon as possible, but the half-track is right on him. And it looks like he's going to lose that sniper there. However, a new half-track for the Russians is out, facing the wrong way to shoot it. And it looks like it got hit by a ZIS there. Took it down to less than half health. And a little bit of trouble there. Bringing that half-track in backwards. And the quad cannon is almost done. Just a sliver. Could have got that half-track, but just wasn't done in time. These Grenadiers getting out of there as soon as possible. Going to lose some troops on the way to that quad cannon. Loses 1, down to 1 in that squad, and 2 in another. And looks like they're going to get away just fine, though. Grenadiers taking a defensive position here. Pioneers with a mine detector, so very little firepower on that squad. And now with a half-track on the field, you'll be able to just reinforce, indeed already reinforcing those 2 that died on that half-track there. Over here, OKW and a Rakettenwerfer battling out with these conscripts here for the control of that territory point. T-70's out on the field for the Blue Russian and firing his cannon directly into that house, right through the window there. And so that would be a pretty scary thought. And so those Storm Pioneers won't last long in that house, with no real way to deal with that T-70. Half-Track is just tearing everything up here, just rolling right through the troops. But however, gets hit by a Panzerschreck there, and it's going to scare it away, spook it off there. The infantry support gun is set up with next to a pack, so quite a bit of firepower coming out from the center here. And conscripts moving forward, going to get some good cover behind these stone walls here and force away these grenadiers. More grenadiers come in, though. Won't last too long against all these grenadiers. We'll see if he chooses to use a rifle grenade. Could use a rifle grenade on these conscripts here. Maybe take out a few should he get a lucky hit. Right side is owned by the Russian players here. 2 victory points for the Russians. So 371 to 491. Germans losing pretty quickly here. Also a mortar out for the Wehrmacht. But the mortar is a little bit too close. They're getting burned by that flamethrower there. T-70 gained control of the fuel point. Looks like he's using the capture ability. Puts away the gun and is capturing that fuel point there. 2 flamethrowers in this half-track. Very interesting stuff here. Moving along and burning up these troops. That looks like that was a runner there. And now a 2-star flamethrower squad in there. And big damage coming out from those 2 flamethrowers, but gets hit by that pack and may not make it out in time. Nope, doesn't make it in time. Looks like it gets hit by that pack once more. However, he's still got those 2 flamethrower squads, so still quite a bit of trouble in that squad there. And getting out these conscripts here, he actually oorahs them out so that he can just run to the half-track and reinforce them there, instead of running them all the way back home. Half-track is in big trouble, though. 2 stars and just a sliver of health left. The pack could move forward just a little bit and get a kill on that half-track, but he probably doesn't know that it is there, as it is in the fog of war. Conscripts now taking the left side victory point here, which is going to leave them with 3 victory points. And the Germans with none, taking them down by 3 points per tick. Grenadiers are moving over the right side here, starting to take back some of the territory directly in front of their base. They definitely need to take quite a bit of territory very quickly. 4 Grenadiers for the Wehrmacht there. And looks like 3 Volksgrenadiers for the OKW, with two of them with Panzerschrecks. And the 2 with Panzerschrecks are right here, right in front of this T-70. T-70 is going to take a beating here. Shows its rear armor to that Panzerschreck and takes a little bit too much damage. However, there's 2 engineers right here, conveniently, that will repair it up. Conscripts are trying to defend this victory point, and they're not going to be able to do it. However, they should be able to hold off the OKW just for a little bit. So it takes them just that much longer to take that victory point. Su-76 is out on the field now. It looks like it's barraging. Looks like he expected those grenadiers to get inside that house, and they didn't. So now he's just barraging a house unnecessarily there. So sort of a bad preemptive call, if you will. T-70 is 2 stars, so not too bad there. Su-76 could, once its barrage is back up, just drive right up to these grenadiers, and although it may take a Panzerfaust hit, it could drive to right about here and then launch the barrage point blank, and it'll hit those infantry dead on and do huge damage to them. 3 grenadiers in the center here, chasing away these engineers with a flamethrower. Katyusha coming in, didn't even notice the Katyusha being brought in, and it's hitting those soldiers directly there, those grenadiers. Doing some pretty big damage, but didn't get any kills. Just a little sliver of veterancy there, which is, I'm surprised he didn't actually get any kills there. They were pretty dead on. Just an unlucky barrage order there. Bringing up the half-track just a little bit to chase away those grenadiers, but gotta watch out. This pack is there, and all it needs to do is move up a good 20 more feet, and we'll be able to start hitting that half-track. The Jagdpanzer is out on the field for the OKW with that Rakettenwerfer, so lots of anti-tank ability over here for the OKW, and this T-70 is in big trouble with that Jagdpanzer and the Rakettenwerfer there, so it's just gonna have to back out of there as soon as possible. ZIS is in the center here to stop any form of armor, but no real armor out for the Wehrmacht. Just now bringing out a half-track, and the T-70 is getting out of there with good reason. Engineers trying to move up to the center here to take this victory point back. and there really isn't anything to contest them. Oh, there is an MG inside that church there. They just need to stand about here to be out of the range of that. That range is pretty far there. Covers the majority of that victory point. They do at least neutralize it, so if they get pinned here and have to run, at the very least they did neutralize it, which is going to force the Russians to have to take that back, which is going to take a little bit of time. New half-track is out on the field for the Wehrmacht here. Doesn't have that flamethrower upgrade, but is able to reinforce his troops from that at the very least. So he's going to back that out of there as it did get hit by that ZIS. Shock troops bit off a little bit more than they could chew. There are way too much forces here. Conscripts and the ZIS are taking back that center victory point. They still own that center victory point and that top victory point. And another Katyusha barrage coming in, decrews that Pak-40. And we'll see if he can get a few direct hits on this mortar squad here. And he does, but the mortar was spread out a little bit, so those soldiers actually were a little bit lucky that they were spread out. And so he gets a few kills on that Katyusha, about 6 so far. Conscripts trying to defend this fuel point. They're going to possibly get this, and if they do, they'll have 2 fuel points. It'd be a big advantage for the Russian. Quad is moving in here and shooting up these troops here, but the Jagdpanzer and a Pak-40 is here, so he may actually lose this. And no, actually misses him there, and that could have finished him off, but a little bit unlikely. Looks like he has a little bit too much health there. Conscripts trying to defend this. Now 2 Su-76 out for the blue Russian player. And looks like he missed both of the barrages. He took out the house there, but didn't actually kill all of the troops. And now these Panzerschrecks firing on this Su-76. Need to move those Su-76 out of there in a quick hurry. Looks like he will take another hit on this one as well. 2 hits on that one, which is going to force him to repair those up. Going to take a little while to repair those up. T-70 now moving in here. And I'm going to try and battle it out with these Volksgrenadiers, but not really going to be too successful in that. Should bring up these flamethrower engineers just a little bit. Indeed, he's just going to run them right into the flamethrowers. And loses that Su-76 to that Jagdpanzer. And they were just too low on health because of those Panzerschrecks, and he should have got them out of there while he had the chance. Not sure why he kept them in there. Just a misjudgment, I suppose. Engineers now trying to force away these Sturm Pioneers here, and this will be a pretty decent battle. But I don't think the Sturm Pioneers are going to last here. And not going to be able to take the fuel point with the engineers there. Both of them sort of neutralizing that out. Volksgrenadiers trying to take the center here, but getting shot at by that MG. And if they get pinned, they will not be able to take that, and they have to retreat out of there. But they do neutralize it at the very least, which does reduce their point decrease. Engineers now trying to retake the fuel point here. And still lots going on in the center here. Lots of packs set up. And that infantry support gun looks like it's facing kind of the wrong way there. Looks like it may have been trying to get those conscripts there. And now turn it around and aiming at those conscripts instead. Katyusha barrage is coming in once again here, and it doesn't look like he's going to get too much there. Wasn't the best barrage spot. He did see some troops there for a moment, so he maybe thought there was a little bit more there. And the quad half-track is still up and running, but he can't go too far up there. There's 2 packs here. You'll lose that very, very quickly should he pull that up. Su-85's got to watch out too. That pack is right there, moving it up just any more, maybe even 10 feet. We'll start taking shots from that pack, but the pack probably can't see that full distance there without some kind of forward scout. Shock troops now taking the munitions point here and going to force away this infantry support gun. May even decrew it here, as he really doesn't notice what's going on at the moment, as the OKW player is more focused on this left side here with this fuel point and decides to pull it out of there, and looks like he will actually successfully get it out of there. Looks like an infrared searchlight is out on the field as well. Half-track moving up and forcing away those shock troops there. Conscripts trying to take that munitions point once again. Looks like a demolition charge is on that victory point. Can't wait till that goes off on something. Rifle grenade comes in, destroys those sandbags there, but only takes out 1 troop. So not too worth it there. Su-76 and the T-70 still alive up here, and with 2 ZIS. And looks like the Jagdpanzer actually took 1 or 2 hits from that ZIS. It's down to about half health there. Huge group of Wehrmacht here in the center with some OKW. And pushing forward, taking back that munitions point. Could take this territory point as well. Just that Su-85 there. Not going to be too much of a problem for those troops. Once he notices that, he could bring up the Rakettenwerfer or the Pak-40 there and do some damage to it. Also has those Panzerschrecks, so needs to watch out for that as well. Two ZIS sitting here, and looks like they're sitting ducks. They're going to have to pull those back. If they didn't notice that, Volkswagen Engineers could have thrown a grenade. And it looks like a point-blank launch from that Katyusha, but it misses those troops. That could have been absolutely devastating had that building not been there to protect them. As the closer range you fire a missile launcher like that, it has a smaller radius in which the missiles span out. And so they would have just eaten all of those waves of those missiles. But thank God for that wooden shack there. And throws an anti-tank grenade at that Jagdpanzer, and at least damages the engine. So now he's going to have to repair that up. Can't really afford to bring that into battle with that damaged engine. You don't really want to lose that. Center now taken by the Wehrmacht here. The demolition charge is available still. And as soon as you see some troops move on to that, people send them to their graves with that demolition charge. Ever so funny when they go off. Top victory points belongs to the Russians. And, oh, he blows it up and takes out 3 troops there. And leaves an MG42 light machine gun, some free stuff for somebody here. And I'd like to see the shock troops take it. That would be sort of interesting to see shock troops with an LMG. And throws a grenade right on that pack and decrews it. Very nice grenade. And looks like this half-track is actually destroyed. Gets hit by that Pack 40 one too many times. And this machine gun is still kicking in this church. Down to 2 men in there, but a 2-star machine gun. It looks like they don't have any cover anymore. The whole wall is just destroyed where they're at. And these grenadiers crawl to that LMG and pick it up and get away with it. So the Russians are denied that free LMG, but they do take the Pack 40 and gonna run off with that. Needs to get it out of there as soon as possible. They have a conscript here with just 1 man and very low health, so it needs to move these out of here. And the half-track, or the support gun, is actually firing down on these troops here, so they got to watch out for that. And the infrared searchlight is going on in the center here, so the Germans could see everything that's going on here with that infrared searchlight. Now Germans pushing up the left side here. Looks like they've taken virtually the entire left side, except for this little point here, and pushed the Russians all the way back to their base and decrewed some of these ZIS in the center. Conscripts trying to make another sandbag here. Free sandbag, and why not? And Engineers trying to take the munitions point here, but I doubt that's going to happen, as there's quite a bit of firepower on them. They've got the infantry support gun, but it's probably too close a range, and they have to retreat out of there, but they do neutralize it at the very least. And conscripts have successfully taken that center victory point, so now owning 2 victory points once again, 201 to 470.
Our enemy has only 200 points.
And indeed, the Germans down to 200 points there. Jagdpanzer still out on the field, hasn't been fully repaired there. Infrared searchlight. And for the Wehrmacht here, it looks like the Wehrmacht only has the half-track, and he was building a tank, but it looks like it got canceled just as I clicked on the troops there. And conscripts are going to get out of there. We're trying to take some territory up here, but a little bit too much firepower on them, as they were on the wrong side of the line. Conscripts taking the territory point here up top, and should get away with it. Doesn't look like there's anything that's going to stop them at the moment. And we have some engineers moving up the right side, taking the fuel point here from the Russians. So that will mean the Germans will own both fuel points, which is bad news for the Russians. Can't let the Germans have both fuel points. If anything, never let them have both fuel points. And forcing away these conscripts here, but they did take that territory point. So they're just going to back up and try and defend that area here. Su-85 is still out on the field. Hasn't really gotten too much action. Only a few shots off for that veterancy. And the Katyusha barrage is coming here and launching down in this area here, but it doesn't look like it's going to get too much, as the map is a little bit too open to really use a Katyusha very efficiently, and the troops are well spread out for his opponent there. So it makes it using that Katyusha very hard, as you really don't have any good options unless you have very good scouting. Although you can see a few good options. He cannot, as the fog of war. He should be firing right here, but he just simply can't see that through the fog of war. 2 ZIS and the IS-2 moving down the left side here and going to repair this IS-2 up. And not going to take too long. Only a damaged engine and a small sliver of health missing. T-70 is now a 3-star veteran. So it is a very, very mobile T-70 and a very dangerous one at that to individual troops. Shock troops now moving forward on these engineers with a mine detector. And the Führer has commanded that engineer to hold that mine detector. Even though his friends are all dying around him, he has his orders. And these shock troops are in chase. And I don't even understand what's going on here. It looks like three men in that squad, but they're all lagging behind there, and he lost them. That was very interesting. Now the Russian troops moving down the left side a little bit, but that pack is right there. He's going to move right into the side of that pack and the Raketenwerfer there. So he takes a missile there, but the missile doesn't do too much. Raketenwerfer fires again, and the Jagdpanzer fires at the same time with the pack, and taking big damage on that IS-2 all the way down to 50% health right off the bat. Just way too much anti-tank over in this region here. He's really going to have to find a better avenue of approach, or at least rethink his strategy there. Just driving right into all this is not a good idea. Going to have to get out of there. And it looks like Russians are taking back the right side here. But there's a Volksgrenadiers and shock troops contesting the munitions point, but it looks like the Russians going to win out on that one. Infantry support gun just firing rounds. The ZIS here barraging these troops here. Ooh, gets a good shot on that Stern Pioneer there, but only takes out one of them. A little bit surprising. I thought it was going to take out a little bit more than that. Grenadiers coming around to flank these two ZIS. These two ZIS are in big trouble here, and they're going to get some good free, easy kills here, and some veterancy on these ZIS. There's really nothing around to defend them except for the IS-2, and decruise one of the ZIS, decruise the second one, and now just going to run out of there. Panzer IV is out in the field for the Wehrmacht. So a little bit more armor for the Germans, but there is an IS-152, technically an ISU-152. I always call it an IS-152, just a little bit easier. Comes off the tongue a little bit easier. IS-2 backing up. Lots of armor out for the Russians, but just not using it to their potential, because there's just so many packs and things like that that's going to stop them and force them away. This IS-152 in big trouble here, actually pretty low on health. Going to take a long time to repair that heavy armor back up. Now crewing the ZIS here, and should get some more troops out to recrew the other one, but he will lose those conscripts should he pick that up. It requires 3 of them. He's going to have to reinforce here with the half-track, and then he's going to pick it up when he has 4. Or perhaps he's going to wait for a little bit more. A little bit unnecessary, but now he can just reinforce through this half-track here. He will have his ZIS back in running order. And IS-2 moving forward, but there's some Panzer Treks here, and the Jagdpanzer down here as well. Jagdpanzer fires, but deflects off the armor there. And Volksgrenadiers trying to juke around a little bit until their Panzer Trek rocket is available again, and it doesn't do too much, just tinks off of it a little bit there. And it looks like the Wehrmacht taking the center victory point, so they will own 2 victory points on the Russians very soon here. Now the 2 ZIS have been moved up, so the Jagdpanzer has to move back a little bit there. Doesn't want to take all that damage at once. Panzer IV now moving into the center away from all this armor here. And it looks like the Su-85 was trying to chase it for a second there, but got to watch out. That pack is there. It is a 3-star pack and will do huge damage. However, Katyusha barrage is coming in. Looks like it hits that mortar directly. Decruise that, it was a 2 or 3-star mortar. Decruise that 3-star pack as well. Very nice Katyusha there. Destroying a lot of high veterancy utility troops there. And now the Germans in a little bit of retreat here. Lots of fire, and IS-2 moving in. Decrewed that T-70. Very unfortunate, as that was a 3-star T-70. But either way, he still has it there, but it is very, very low on health. Russians still own the right side, but unfortunately the Wehrmacht owns the center. And that means that the Wehrmacht will be winning and turning the score around a little bit here. Infrared searchlight still alive. They're so useful, and just capturing all the stuff on the map, is able to see these tanks moving up on him, so he knows exactly what's coming. Got his pack set up and his Panzer IV in place here. Su-85 has that focus sight on, so it can see very far. It can definitely see that half-track from there. And the IS-152 is extremely long-ranged and can also fire with the vision of that Su-85, but it also has focus sight as well on. So both of these items, both of these tanks rather, have focus sight and can see very, very far there. However, the infrared searchlight can see even further and knows exactly what's going on. However, should turn that focus sight a little bit, this infrared searchlight, just a little bit to the left, so you can see all this as well, as there's really nothing over this way. Over on the left side here, battle going on. The IS-2 taking some damage here. Panzerschreck set up. Panzer IV is now incoming here, and the Jagdpanzer getting good shots in on that IS-2. IS-2 in a little bit of trouble here. ZIS is set up, but very, very slow attack rate on the ZIS. IS-2 backing up, gets a hit on the Panzer IV here. Lots of Panzerschrecks, 2 Panzerschrecks now moving up. And looks like they're trying to get a hit on that half-track and get 2 really excellent hits on the half-track, but don't actually destroy it. So they're going to able to be repairing that up once more. The right side, we have these Grenadiers taking the right side, and they can just move up the right side freely, as there's really nothing to contest them over that way. IS-152 and the Su-85 in a little bit of trouble here. Su-85 a little bit low on health. Looks like it took a couple shots from that pack there. And IS-152 firing at that pack, and I'm surprised he actually didn't take anybody out from that pack. That was a seemingly direct hit. And now firing at those Stern Pioneers there. Ooh, a big nasty hit. Actually takes out 3 of them at once. Over on the left side, IS-2 is still in good condition. Half health on the T-70 as well. Just doesn't really have enough manpower to be spreading these out and repairing those very quickly there. Conscripts are trying to take the left side fuel point here. And the right side fuel point belongs to the Wehrmacht here, taken by those Grenadiers. And now going to be defended by those Grenadiers. 3-star Grenadiers. Going to be a little hard to take that from them. Going to have to send some pretty serious troops in order to get those out of there. IS-2 gets a good shot on that Jagdpanzer there and forces that out of there. Going to have to repair that up. And the infrared searchlight begins again, and now it's going to actually be able to see on the left side here. So it's going to show everything on the left side. And so now he's going to be able to set up a little bit better. Ooh, actually we have a demolition charge here, and I didn't notice that. Demolition charge is there, and if he notices that, he could actually be destroying that infrared searchlight right now. But maybe he's just waiting for that Jagdpanzer to back up a little bit, or perhaps he totally forgot that it is even there in the first place, which I suppose is an easy thing to do. Conscripts over here battling out with these Grenadiers, but they are losing pretty quickly here. These Grenadiers have superior cover, but now blown away by that T-34. No more cover anymore. And they have to run out of there. These conscripts are not going to be able to take that fuel point back for the Russians. And they're going to be owning both of the fuel points. So back in action for the Russians here. And now the Germans going to be losing out on both of the fuel points. So they're going to have to conserve what they have. The Jagdtiger is out on the field for the OKW, and I can't wait for this to get out on the field. The Jagdtiger is so powerful and so long-ranged, just going to cause a lot of trouble for the Russians there, and already getting that engine improvements upgrade, allowing it to rotate a little bit easier. Bottom victory point is now owned by the Russians here. All 3 victory points owned by the Russians, so OKW has to watch out. Down to 119 points here. IS-152 firing from downtown here, but the Jagdtiger completely unmatched in its range, as you can see. Hit from all the way about right here, all the way up there. Completely outranges that IS-152. And the IS-152 has some incredible range in itself. Now the OKW is pushing onto the left side, pushing a lot of troops onto the left side here. We have Volks Grenadiers and these Stern Pioneers moving over to the victory point here. And the only way to really defend this is with these engineers, with a couple flamethrowers here. And that should do pretty well, as it's doing some AoE damage to all these troops here. IS-2 now moving in a little bit, but not focusing on that Jagdpanzer. Needs to turn on the prioritize vehicles button. And in that way, he's only going to be firing at that Jagdpanzer. Wants that Jagdpanzer to back up over that demolition charge. I would like to see that. Jagdtiger is still in the center here, forcing away that IS-152, can shoot it from so far away. Looks like the OKW was successful in pushing back the Russians from the left side victory point there, so now going to own that. And they are trying to take the center victory point, but the MG42 squad is running away there. T-34 trying to back up out of there. Jagdtiger trying to turn around as well to get a shot on it, but a little bit too late. Panzer IV being repaired there, so we'll be ready to battle once more very soon. Jagdpanzer a little bit damaged there, but it is a 4-star, so a pretty high veterancy Jagdpanzer there. And now the Russians fumbling just a little bit, getting pushed back. getting pushed back in the middle and in the left side there. So gonna have to force their armor back up here. Katusha getting some really excellent hits on those Grenadiers and forcing them away before they're able to take that victory point. So a very good Katusha barrage there, a defensive save on that victory point. Germans now moving forward once again, gonna take this munitions point with these engineers, and with the Volksgrenadiers taking this territory point and just forcing all these troops back. They just don't really have any more troops, it seems, on the map. So all this stuff is very defenseless against these incoming troops. T-70 gets one-shotted by that Jagdtiger, got hit in the rear armor by this Jagdtiger and absolutely destroyed. Jagdtiger does huge damage to that Su-85 and trying to back up, also takes a hit from that Panzerfaust. Now its engine is a little bit damaged. T-34 now is on the opposite side of the Jagdtiger here. This is the side that you want to be on, and gets a shot in the rear armor. Does only a sliver of damage. The armor is so great on the Jagdtiger, and gonna get shot in the rear armor by that Jagdtiger. No, actually hits the IS-2 there. A little bit surprising. Just leaving the Panzer IV command tank to take out that T-34. IS-2 backing up out of there. Gonna take another shot from that Jagdtiger. Just 2 shots and less than half health. May have gotten shot by the by a Panzerschreck there as well. Katusha barrage now coming in again and hitting this MG42 pretty much directly, going to decrew that. So now that is off the table, and it was trying to take out his troops there, but unable to take that back, just neutralized. And so now both sides just only owning 1 victory point. The Russians, a little bit of trouble here, but the OKW is very, very low on victory points there. Or just total game points. Conscripts trying to shoot down this fuel cache here, and we'll soon take that southern victory, or southern territory point. And again, the Russians really just don't have a lot of troops out on the map. So whenever the OKW or the Wehrmacht pushes troops up here, all they really have is the ZIS and the PAC out here, and they just basically have to run them away as soon as some troops come up. So they need a little bit better defense along through here. Maybe some machine guns to stop troops from coming up the center there. Now the Wehrmacht owning the center victory point, and an imposing presence of this Jagdtiger in the center, really unable to send the Russians very unable to send their armor in the center with that Jagdtiger there, as it just does so much damage. Looks like the IS-152 is trying to fire at these Panzer Fusiliers here, but missed and hit the terrain there. Conscripts moving at these Panzer Fusiliers in a little bit of trouble there. Gonna have to get out of there. Just 3 left in that squad. Now Katusha barraging this Volksgrenadier directly, and looks like the Volksgrenadier actually sort of lucks out there. Looks like they may have only lost 1 to that Katusha barrage. So pretty lucky, all the missiles just raining around them and not actually on them. IS-152 moving in, as well as the IS-2, but just taking shots from that Jagdtiger, and just gonna have to back out once again. Just can't get anywhere near this Jagdtiger. This Jagdtiger alone pretty much defending this whole place, as anytime any kind of armor moves into the area, it just takes about half of its health off with 1 shot. So then you're forced to back it up and repair it again. Lots of packs now moving out. ZIS, packs, and I think there's a PAC 40 in there, isn't there? Mostly just ZIS, and the Rakettenwerfer that was taken by the OKW there was about to move into the center there, but again, you can't just move in all these, as these troops here will stop you from doing that. As the Germans have a little bit better idea here, have some troops right in front of their tanks, just in case anything like that comes across. They'll be able to stop it with those troops. Engineers now taking the right side top victory point here. Going to leave the Russians with no victory points, so going to start taking down their score very quickly. T-34 over here just chilling in a pretty vulnerable spot. And shock troops going to chase away these engineers, no problem. And take that victory point back for themselves. The Russians trying to move down the left side here. And I'd like to see that Jagdtiger turn around, but he's trying to defend the center there. And 2 engineers trying to push back the troops here with the IS-2. However, the Jagdpanzer is firing on that IS-2, hitting it in the side armor there. Not doing too much, but sort of forcing it away. So many anti-tank guns set up here, and big damage on that Jagdpanzer. Takes about 3 or 4 hits at the same time there. It was pretty interesting. And looks like the T-34 is moving down the right side of the center here, but the Jagdtiger is moving in on it. Jagdtiger actually takes a side hit and stuns the crew from that IS-152 there. And looks like an airdrop is coming down on it. A precision bombing strike right on that area there. And see if he can do any damage to this Jagdtiger. The Jagdtiger resists the damage now at half health. IS-152 may be able to actually take it out here, but such a slow fire rate for that IS-2. Takes a hit from the Jagdtiger there. Jagdtiger takes another hit from the IS-2, and the crew is dazed from the rear by that T-34 there, and needs the fire from all these packs here and CIS to take out this Jagdtiger. And if they can take out that Jagdtiger, it will basically mean the end for the Wehrmacht, I believe. The Germans, as it will be such a loss for the OKW there. He really won't be able to replace that anytime soon. IS-2 backing out here, taking some Panzerschreck fire, and the Panther 4 was coming that way, but Panther 4 really no match for the IS-2. And a bombing strike coming in. The Sturmakov attacks right over these troops here and does some big damage to them, but doesn't actually kill them, and they get out of there in time. Jagdtiger backed up and is now being repaired by 2 Sturm Tigers, or Sturm Pioneers. And so all that work done by the Russians to take it down to less than half health is now for naught. And lost the T-34 in the process of doing that. IS-152 is being repaired up by 2 engineers himself. And all these ZIS are in a little bit of trouble here. These Panzer Fusiliers are going to do big damage to them. Should take these engineers here and try and force those away. But nope, they're just going to go over to this territory point here and take that. Russians owning 2 victory points once again. OKW and Germans down to 43 there. Panzer Fusiliers getting shot directly in their face by this IS-2 here. Going to have to get out of there, but they did neutralize that territory point, so they're not going to get out of there. IS-2 took a big hit from that Jagdtiger there, and the Jagdpanzer at the same time, and destroys that IS-2. A big loss for the blue Russian player there. A new IS-2 is out on the field. He made one immediately. As soon as that one died, he just brought a new one out. So not too big of a loss, I suppose. But he did lose the veterancy on that original IS-2. And Pack is set up right in front of that Jagdtiger, but he's choosing to bring it back. Engineers moving right into the fray of these Germans here, but there's so many Sturm Pioneers. He's got to watch out. They're just going to take him down extremely fast. And these engineers really doing nothing in the center there. Not a very good idea. Lost those engineers. Now he's lost the ability to repair up his IS-2 very quickly. And CIS trying to move back from these Volksgrenadiers here. Conscripts battling out with Volksgrenadiers, and these Sturm Pioneers took back the territory point. Right side here is being taken by Grenadiers. Back to the center here. All the good actions going on there. Jagdtiger actually lost its main gun there. I'm not really sure. I actually missed out on that. I think the IS-152 did that, but now he lost the IS-152. So the Russians slowly losing all of their armor. Need to just rush that Jagdtiger, which would cripple the Germans right now should they lose that. Problem is the Russians are slowly losing all of their tanks, and they don't have too many resources to be replacing these at any quick rate. Su-85 is now lost to that Jagdpanzer. 5-star Jagdpanzer now, and Su-85 is in a little bit of trouble here. He's got to back out to the base. And IS-2 is now moving at this Jagdpanzer. Jagdpanzer is almost full health already, though. He's probably going to lose this IS-2 to that Jagdpanzer, as both of them are about the same speed here. And as soon as he can turn that gun around and face that IS-2, going to take a huge hit there, and should just try and get this IS-2 out of there. Should just do whatever he can to get it out of there. And this demolition charge is still there. Never really used that, and the crew was stunned temporarily on that Jagdtiger, but they were still moving, which is sort of odd. And he's trying to finish out this Jagdtiger, but he's not going to do it. He's got to get out of there. If he loses this IS-2, he's not going to be able to replace it. Well, indeed, actually, he could replace it. He does have the funds to replace it, but don't really want to give even more veterancy to that Jagdtiger. New IS-2 comes out immediately once again to replace that, as he did have the ability to replace that. Su-85 gonna maybe get one more shot. Oh, it was a miss. That was a critical miss on that Jagdtiger, or Jagdpanzer. So many Jags, so many names. And the Jagdpanzer actually gets it in one on that Su-85. So that was incredible. Even says LM, laughing my ass off there. Just because that was such a crazy engagement there. Half-track moving forward on these Volksgrenadiers and may be able to take this left side back, as there's not too much defending it here. Just these Volksgrenadiers, and they're going to have to run as soon as possible here. Away from that quad cannon, that meat chopper, and make it an additional kill here, but resisting the damage quite well. Takes out one there, only 2 left. Now in reduced cover there, just for a moment, but didn't really get the shot off at the right time. And this, oh, he could actually get this demolition charge off if he's seen it. Oh, please detonate that. Oh, man, it's right on it. That would be amazing. I'll do it. Oh, he blows it up. And actually, it doesn't do too much damage. That's amazing. It only did a small amount of damage, about 1/5 of its health. I've actually never seen that happen with a Jagdtiger on it. And I can't believe it actually didn't destroy, or at least do about half damage to it. That was a whole demolition charge. Pretty amazing. And he was just waiting for a good opportunity to use that demolition charge, and that was a good opportunity, but can't believe it did that little damage. Very disappointing, actually. Russian flamethrowers here going to chase away or finish off these Grenadiers. Should be able to finish off the Grenadiers. Indeed, finishes them off and going to take this victory point back from the OKW. OKW only at 26 points, so they need to do something. They need to do something immediately here. And indeed, sending some Stern Pioneers over here, and sending 3 Stern Pioneers over here to the victory point to take that back, so they can stop the loss of points as soon as the Russians take this back. But sending the Panzer IV up here as well, so maybe able to successfully chase off these troops before they take it. But that's going to be rather unlikely. And got to watch out over here. That Jagdtiger is still there, now fully repaired once again, and fires from downtown there. Carl Malone, the mailman, hitting the IS-2 there, right in the side, doing big damage. IS-2 now down to half health, needs to get it out of there. Can't really afford to get another one, has 230. Can afford the fuel to get another one, but doesn't have the manpower available to get another one. And IS-2 needs to watch out here. Here comes the Jagdpanzer to finish it off, and it's probably going to do so. Looks like gets hit by 2 ZIS at the same time here. Finishes off that IS-2. Now big trouble for the Blue Russian here. Doesn't have any more armor out on the field. And GG's, which I find strange as they only need 26 more points to finish this off. And a big loss for the Russians there to lose that IS-2, but I figured they could do just about anything and send just about anything to take this victory point back and defend this one. Only need to reduce their enemy by 26 points. I'd hate to see them quit already without finishing the game. But so far they were still in the match. Jagdtiger now moving out once again here and gonna go look for some trouble. Not too much armor left on the map though for the yellow here, for the yellow Russian. Looks like he has only 1 Su-85 left, and the Katusha. The Katusha is a 3-star veteran. So many kills around that. Looks like 48, not too bad. Most I've ever seen was 131 in a replay I did. And it looks like the yellow Russian player has left the game, and I'm assuming Sebuj will follow. Indeed, the Russians lose the game. A very, very close game for the OKW and Germans there. Wehrmacht and the OKW, both of them Germans. Only down to 26 points, but I would have really liked to have seen the Russians at least try and take either the center, which would be probably less likely, or the left side, and just throw everything they got at it. And they could probably actually just take it, even just for a small amount of time, and would have been able to take that. A little bit tongue-tied now, but that Jagdtiger, probably the hero of the game. And while it only has 6 kills, it forced away all of the armor from the center. They just simply couldn't meet the distance that Jagdtiger had in between it. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this replay, and I will see you guys next time.